So, Trippy, you gotta tell us about Barbieheimer or Barbenheimer.
Yes.
Barbenheimer was amazing.
Yeah, tell us why you're retarded.
That's a question for God. Only God can. I mean, I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Might be all the
I
endocrine
was just made this
disruptors in the
way.
food.
Well, first of all, going back on something that's all light and colorful and hilarious to something dark and depressing and reflective is quite a trip. Messes with your brain a bit. So when I left the theater, yeah, it was definitely a weird mood. But Barbie, I thought was amazing. I really like Barbie. Like I saw through it. There's a surface level like thing going on there, but it's actually it's a satire. It's a freaking satire, right?
It's a satire.
You can't take that thing seriously. You can't be like it'd be like going to see.
They went so hard that they made it funny.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's intentional because
I've heard that a lot of people are debating whether that it was intentional or not.
Do you know who wrote it?
I do not.
Have you ever seen The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou?
No, I don't even know if I could pronounce that.
It's a Wes Anderson. Have you ever seen Wes Anderson movies?
I don't think so.
So Noah Baumbach, he's co-written 2 Wes Anderson movies, Life Aquatic and The Fantastic Mr. Fox.
That movie I do know.
So that's a very smart movie, right?
There's
a lot going on with it.
This is a very dumb movie, then?
Well, no, he just knows how to write a movie. He knows what he's doing. I mean, he's a professional writer. Like, he knows how to write stories and scripts. And
this guy wrote the surface level to pass all the ESG scores, but underneath you're laughing your ass off.
He's partnered with Greta Gerwig, the director. So they're like married. And Barbie belongs to Margot Robbie. And she has it like the rights through Warner Brothers and her production company that she owns with her husband. But mostly it's written by Greta and Noah, and so it's a male-female written team. So it can't just be like all feminists. There's a male writing in it, like a mind behind all this stuff. And Ryan Gosling was specifically chosen to play Ken. They had like no one other in mind. And the fact that Ryan Gosling did that much, like put on that much of a performance, should show you right away, like what you're dealing with this movie. Like it's over the top, it's satirical as everything. And the bad part, I watched Critical Drinker's review just today. I didn't want to watch it beforehand because I kind of knew where it was going to come from. Sure enough, it is what I thought it'd be. And it's kind of a bad thing that a lot of people will just listen to that review, and that's what it is. Because I went and saw it and got a completely different movie. You know, I didn't see any of that because I saw the satirical part. They leaned into it too hard, so obviously they're making fun of it all. It'd be like going to see Team America: World Police and saying that movie promotes America being world police. Like it promotes that stuff. That's what it's mean. No, it doesn't, does it? It's a satire.
Are you sure it doesn't?
Pretty sure. And so when you know that's a satire and you just see through the writing of the patriarchy, the fascism, and all that stuff, it's funny actually. They're just leaning into it so hard that it becomes funny. But I think I talked to this about Maji or someone the other night in our Gilded Voice chat. There's always the one scene in a movie, the old wise man, like the magician, that the protagonist will come across and get like a key piece of information to understand themselves and how to like continue on with their journey and handle the end resolve conclusion of their story. This comes at the very end, and it's I forget the woman's name. It ends up being like the woman that created Barbie, like back in the day. And there's this one bit of dialogue, and if you weren't paying attention, Maji, you would have missed the whole theme of the movie, where the creator, essentially Barbie's god, is telling her that humans like to make up stuff people create things. Everything's like a creation. That's why she created Barbie. She likes being creative. People are creative, and the theme was, what's she saying? I can't even put it into words now because I'm fucking too high.
You know, the phrase of Barbie God was not something I've ever thought I've heard, but
It's the creations that we
I've heard
create
it tonight.
things to run from problems as well. Problems like
Yeah.
patriarchy. That's what she said. She literally said we create things like patriarchy to not deal with ourselves. That's what she said right there. Like that's what I was trying to pull out of my memory because I know she said something exactly like that. Like it's all make believe. You made that things up not to deal with your own personal problems and your own creative mishaps, your own, yourself basically. Until you let that go and not let your creations ruin you for the worse, you're never going to be completely human. And at the end, she lets go and she becomes human. And the final scene just had me in hysterics just before the credits. That was a movie I saw. That was Barbie. That was the deeper movie.
I actually was laughing my ass up all the way up to the feminist speeches where they were using the guys against each other.
Oh yeah, but the the whole push scene where they're all singing Matchbox 20 Push and like acoustic on the beach, all the Kens are with Barbie. Oh my gosh, it was so funny.
All right, let's move on to something that I know Readout will want to talk about. What are your thoughts on Oppenheimer?
Let's hear Readout's thoughts first because I've been talking. Let's let Readout have the floor.
Well, as I said last time,
it's the dude. Sorry, let's let the dude have the
floor.
The dude is dudist. The Readout dude, it's fine.
Dude, you're speaking Trippy's language.
Man.
It's fine. Speaking Wrangler's language apparently too. Well, as I said a few weeks when we were talking about Oppenheimer, I felt 2/3 of it lived up to what I was expecting. 1/3 could have been ran for the editing room another time. I get why Nolan was jumping back and forth between the timelines. I would have really wished that they would have set up what the framing device of the movie was, which was Louis Strauss's what's the word I'm looking for?
Please excuse me.
Mission thing, his like role.
Oh well, Louis Strauss's other debate they were having involving him, the congressional hearing that he was having for his. Oh, it was for him to be appointed, for the nomination to be completed for him to get his position and power.
Yeah.
I wish it would have set it up a bit better at the start of the movie, so you knew why we're going all over the place. They didn't really start bringing that into about 20-30 minutes in.
Yeah, I didn't even catch it till near the end when I realized, it was a power play between Oppenheimer and Strauss there because Oppenheimer gets denied his clearance back into the government, and I think it shows that little private interrogation scene or hearing between Oppenheimer and the state, and you just see how lack of information his defense is given, and all of it's basically redacted anyway, so his defense has no opportunity to defend his client in good manner against the state's accusations or anything like that. So it kind of shows like the evils of the state there.
And for anybody who says, look what the conservatives will do to the liberals, it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody.
I'm trying to debate, is he like pro or anti-communism? That's where I was like, because I get the strong feeling it's anti-communist messaging, but at the same time, it's like showing
communism is a red herring.
Yeah, it's weird. But it's also kind of accurate to the time as well. They were hunting commies in the state, and very, very dangerous. And looking at today's world, as an adult, I understand why.
They didn't go far enough. That was a problem.
Now, I think me and Trippy, we had a private messaging about the movie today. The one thing I agree with, the biggest criticism, a certain scene in the movie, the gratuitous sex scenes, as I call them, which Trippy said, and if you're okay, I can share this, only seem to be there to get an R rating for the movie. And I agree with that. They seem to be only there just so Nolan can smack the R rating on the movie.
Have you ever seen the movie Thank You for Smoking with what's his name that played Two-Face in The Dark Knight?
Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah, I know.
Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
what it
it
is.
kind of. Oh, dude, that movie's genius. It touches on trying to get smoking popular with movies again, and he goes to Hollywood, and they talk about the scene like, oh yeah, we could have the sex scene, in space, and then after that they have a cigarette, and Aaron Eckhart's like character is like, well, wouldn't the oxygen-rich environment make him explode? And they think for a second, and like, oh, I'll just come up with a good thing they invented the blah 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 device. Oh yeah. So they just kind of make it up, but it just shows this nasty side, the backdoor side of Hollywood, and it is what it is. These wheelers and dealers in these rooms coming up with scripts. Oddly enough, the Thank You for Smoking was produced with Elon Musk. I forget the other people, but Elon Musk produced Thank You for Smoking.
Now, a certain line in the movie that I don't know if we can say, not that it's necessarily inappropriate, but the higher powers of YouTube, did it get as big of a reaction as it did in my feeder? Because people, if Trippy, you know what I'm talking about, it's a sequence where Groves is sitting in trying to listen to Oppenheimer, basically giving Oppenheimer one chance to be a part of the Manhattan Project. It's like, okay, what's your argument that we have an advantage over the Germans? And then Oppenheimer drops a bomb of a line.
Yeah.
And I myself and everybody in the feeder burst out laughing because we got the joke. How did your feeder react?
They're quiet. I think I was the only one who was just like, wait, what? What? I think that was the general consensus, like, wait, what? And then it explains, it's like, yeah, because of, yeah, I get it. But
I don't think YouTube will ding us for talking about that, though, because I've heard plenty of other YouTubers say it, and
Oh, well, in that case, I'll say the line.
Yeah,
So,
go for it.
Groves,
You're quoting, and no one
Oppenheimer
else has gotten in trouble
goes,
for it.
the one thing that the United States has an advantage over Germany, anti-Semitism. And Groves goes, what? And then proceeds to explain that Hitler's anti-Semist views will not allow him to read any type of science that was written by a scientist with any Jewish ties. So he will intentionally make life more difficult in the German atomic program to avoid the answers.
they were concerned about Heisenberg, the Nazis getting a hold of Heisenberg, but
Yeah.
since it was you, they didn't want him.